Okay, giving somebody a few minutes to get in here. You tell people, you give them notifications, they don't come. Let's give it a few minutes. Hopefully, people show up. Hi, Josh. Hi, Jeff. Good evening. This is an open panel discussion about what's going on in the Patriot community. And if anybody wants to come up in the panel, I will drop the StreamYard link so we can discuss it. I've seen, was on a panel, and we have people coming in that are starting trouble in the Patriot community. And it really saddens me. I was called a liberal by this person. They went over to another channel and were talking shit because I was under my other, I go by Scorpion Queen sometimes. Yeah, it is, Josh. And it's really sad that we're at each other's throat. I didn't like what happened to Alex Beepin Jones. I did not like what happened to Anaki because how he was put down and called an Iraqi. This is something that should not happen. Everybody's talking about unity, and it's not happening. We're disrespecting people, for their opinions and ideas. It hurts me. It hurts me. We're supposed to be uniting. Instead, we're dividing. And I wanted to talk about this because it's really heavy on my heart. I was called a liberal, and it really upset me. And I'm tired of this one person going from this person is causing trouble and wreaking havoc in a lot of channels, and nobody's seeing it. And they're probably the one that's doing the reporting of the channels. I know it's a lot of people, they're doing it. And, they're cowards. They don't want to say, like, it's not me. It's not me. For me, as mod, I sit in other channels and I watch. I watch everything. It's like you got to observe and you got to know who the troublemakers are, and you have to figure it out. And if you say something, and the person loves him dearly, you don't want to cause problems. And I'm sorry, guys, I am really upset. It really bothered me that I was called a liberal. I love my country. I know our men fought hard, and I have people that were in the military. Hey, Bill. It just really bothers me that people can't come together. I'm drop the StreamYard link if somebody wants to come up and chat about it. There's a StreamYard link in the chat. I don't know where my mods are or anything. I know Joss and Wild Bill's is one, but it's really bothered me that I got to see this stuff. So much fighting, so much disrespect. It's like people should come together. That's all we have is each other. I'm just sick of the media. I'm sick of them putting the Patriots down. Patriots are feeling down. They're suffering too, just like everybody else. They're losing their jobs. They're being attacked. And if anyone wants to come on the panel, please feel free to come in the StreamYard links in there. If you didn't get it, I'll post it again. I've never seen so much going on like this. Stabbing each other in the back because somebody asked a question. Okay, you can joke, but some people go too far. They really go too far. They don't think about what they're going to say, and they just spew it right out. You know, and this is wrong in the page. Okay, Zach's coming in. Hold on.
Other.
Hey, Zach.
You know what? You know that saying that Dad used to say to me?
Hmm.
Man will truly know peace once they know the power of love rather than the love of power. And a lot of these people are using their platforms to to down people and to make them not credible and stuff like that. And that's not right. We should all be joined together as unity. We're all human beings. And I don't know if anybody believes in God or not. I don't know what your beliefs are, but still, if you have higher power or whatever, you know, we're all human beings, and for people to put other people down, you should take a look at yourself before you put somebody down.
Yeah, it's happening a lot, Zach.
This is not
It's
just for you.
happening a lot. We're supposed to unite together, you know. There's too much arguing, you know, and it's like having respect for one another. And thanks for coming to the channel. Say
You're
hello to
welcome, Mom. I love
everybody,
you.
Zachary. You can tell them who you are. If you don't want to, that's fine.
I just wanted to say that, you know, if we don't unite as a, I'm talking about like every other country too. If we don't unite as humanity with all the stuff that's going on in the world, like the plastics and stuff like that are destroying our earth,
Mm,
if we don't unite, humanity's not going to last another couple thousand years because we're gonna destroy ourselves.
exactly.
Point in time, we are destroying our earth, we are destroying each other, and we are making the world a worse place rather than a better place. And if you can't take somebody's opinion and thoughts into consideration without judgment, if you can do that, kudos for you because that's the best way to do it. You don't make a judgment, you just listen. And listening is a key factor in learning and bringing people together because a lot of people don't want to listen. They'll roll their eyes or they'll walk away or and that's a big problem in this society now. And I feel bad for other people that get lashed out online about stuff and other people lashing out on each other. I don't understand it. I really don't. I mean, yes, I am. I guess the reason why I don't understand it is because I'm starting to see life in a whole new way because I'm trying to become a priest and I'm just looking at all the chaotic stuff.
Hey, Zach, do
And
you want to tell them who you are?
hi, I'm Zachary Battiato. I'm Lisa Battiato's son. I'm sorry. I should have told everybody. I apologize.
That's my
Um,
son, guys.
but yeah, it's just I don't know about the Patriot thing, but from my point of view, if humanity cared more about one another rather than trying to destroy or discredit somebody or have power over somebody, the world would be a hell of a lot better place.
Yep.
You're always going to have good and evil. It's your choice, it's what you do that can change the future. That's my thoughts on things. I don't know about everybody else, but that's the way I
Yeah.
feel. I mean, let me know. I'm gonna get off and let my mom talk. What do you have to say, Mom? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I agree. A lot of people are agreeing with you. You know that this stuff we need to come together instead of fighting each other. So I'm thank you for coming and sharing your supporting your mom. I appreciate it, even though we don't disagree on things. But I want you know I love you.
Nobody agrees on everything. It's just about talking it through. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I'm gonna get off here, and I will talk to you later, Mom. I love you.
Okay, babe. Yeah, that's some reason I'm not allowed to post a link in here for StreamYard. That's nice. I wish Joe was in here. Hey, Wild Bills, you're a mod. See if you can go back up to the StreamYard link and copy it and paste it back in here. Because I need it. It's something's wrong on my side. It won't let me fucking paste. Let me try something. I don't know what. Oh, there we go. Anybody else want to come up? Just post the StreamYard link. I got it. And talk about the issues in the Patriot community. You're welcome to join me. Just show respect towards me and any of my mods. That's all I ask. And you know, and I don't like people that are screaming because when you yell over top of each other, you're not accomplishing anything. We're not resolving anything. I mean, if somebody's lost their job, they're welcome to come up here and talk about what happened and how you were treated, because you're a patriot, that you love this country. I wish we could have more people in here, and I appreciate the ones that came in. Blue Collar Hero, I'd never seen you in here before. Jeff, never seen you in here before. I appreciate it for coming. We do have a big issue. I mean, even if your predators going on, there's arguing there, and there's a lot going in there, and everybody should be uniting. I don't care if you have differences or not. You have to come together. If somebody didn't, if somebody questions you like, "What did I do wrong? Why did you boot me?" That's kind of disrespectful. It is. I know Zachary, the Patriot brother, is going to be live. So at 7:30, you can join them there. Join him there, which I will be going. And I have to mod another channel, which is our RC podcast. He's hardcore, and some people don't like him. Oh well, he just says it like it is. I mean, you may not agree with because he loves this country too, and we are just getting shit on day in and day out, and we're fighting each other and eating our, what is that accomplishing? Nothing. Like Alex Beepin Jones, he goes by Base Prism. He wants to bring people together. It's about unity, not fighting each other. And calling people, liberals, because they don't agree with you, but that's not helping us. We aren't uniting.
I'll come up here.
Okay.
Hey, Wild Bills.
Hey, what's up,
How's
everybody?
it going?
Put my thing around here. Boom, that's a little better.
Hi, Blue Collar Harold. Good to see you here.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Guys, this is really horrible. I mean, I am a mod for other channels, and I see how people are acting. It just breaks my heart. It does. And I got called a fucking liberal, and they went on another channel. This person, because I go under Scorpion Queen sometimes because I get pissed off at people.
I talk real quick.
It's always a test. It's always a test to see if we're
Yep.
how we respond. A lot of them are just attention seekers. They're just trying to get attention.
Oh yeah. This person goes in everybody's channel and starts shit all the time. It's like they're seeking attention, and you're right. But how are we helping each other if we're supposed to unite together? People have lost their job for being a patriot. It's
Well,
just
they don't care.
I don't get it.
I think some of them are paid bots that they're either not paid bots. They're literally AI bots that they have a distinct purpose to go around various channels that they get assigned to probably through some AI system, and I think some of it's It might even be the deep state. Some of it's by political people that are trying to disrupt discourse.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen that on the Maurice channel. That's
Yep.
been chronic. He'll have these guests on, trying to, I guess, just allow people to air out the other side, and it's you see these guests just attack everyone in the room, attacking people in the chat, and I don't mean like being nasty. They're virulent, accusing them of being these god awful things like racist and coming out as these what I call it's just anti-whiteism, and you could be a Spanish speaker, you could be a Middle Easterner, they still hate you. I was talking with one cat, and this is back in the summer. It's when I kind of lost interest in not Mo's channel, but getting on his streams and that, because God, what was the guy's name? Anyway, he was some Antifa radical, but I kept bringing up the point that because I have a Quran, I have a Bible, I like to read a lot of things and that, and I kept quizzing him. If you're so pro-black and why can't you identify on a common ground with the guy that listens to Louis Farrakhan, who wants to worship God, who wants to better themselves? Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, that's what's going to bring us together, is trying to get, if like, make America great again. Well, how about give a shit about yourself? Give a shit about the guy next to you, try to be the best version of yourself. But some folks don't want to hear that. They've got this outrage culture, and they just shout you down or insult you to the point where it diverts the original conversation into, now you're on the defensive, and it's a hard thing to linguistically get yourself out of when someone only wants to argue.
Because
No, go ahead.
Hold on, I'm gonna pick this up and hang it up.
they control you.
Every time I go live, my phone rings.
What they could control the narrative by trying to raise the hackles on your neck and get your pride. They're gonna make your ego react, and then they step back and they point and go, see how he is, see how she is. So
Yeah,
that's how they play us. They play us, and it's like, it's really immature. A lot of them are trolls. I mean, they're just people out trying to get attention. Some of them are bots, and some of them are paid. Some of them are bots, literally AI bots, and other ones are paid. And that's all they do is try to disrupt any civil discourse in any of these chats. So we just have to overcome it, I guess. We just have to overcome it. Don't let your ego get the best of you, and get in defensive mode, because that is how they control us, and they know how to play it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. When I was working,
But I just had to shed some light on this. I really did, because it was bothering me. It's like, why? I mean, this is just nuts.
It's hard telling. I remember when the COVID hoax hit, I was selected to be one of these. I was working up at OSU at the dental college. We were building a new college. I'm a pipe fitter, and so they solicit the contractor we were working for gave us all layoff slips. It was a mass layoff or whatever, and I hadn't had any hours that year. I had to have that job. I wasn't about to go get laid off again and not have unemployment. So they said, well, then you're a essential employee, and we'll keep you on for the duration of the project. Now, moving forward, as it progressed into the springtime, the job still had plenty of longevity. But I remember driving up, because I didn't pay much. I was living in a hotel, and away from the house. Well, I remember driving up, and it looked like 9/11 in Columbus one day when I was coming up there. And I guess this was after like the George Floyd riots kicked off nationwide. And I was thinking, what in the fuck is that? What have they done to Columbus? It's on fire, like a tower of smoke so big it looked like a weather system. And I'm getting close to the city. I'm thinking, God, man, I should have brought a couple guns, but I'm going to be on campus. This is no good. I'm not really okay with like driving into a riot scene. So I get on the campus and I'm at the job, and the scuttlebutt at the break table, and this is amongst a mixed crowd, okay, mixed racial crowd. The most voiceful, virulent people, most pro BLM, it was the dumbest thing I had ever witnessed. Were these whites sitting at the table with me that I thought I knew and trusted, and they kept revealing these huge, like, I don't even want to say character flaws, but just like dumping packs of hate, and like queue up the worst crap on their phone and play it real loud at the break table. And eventually I didn't want to even sit around these cats. Well, and then you can still hear people talk about you when you're not sitting at the tables and that. It wasn't 2 weeks for being around that and disassociating myself with that. They had my money, and I haven't worked since. I'm not going to blame, Black Lives Matter for that, but the people that are into that mindset on Facebook or the social media or whatever, it's almost like a feedback loop they can't get out of. They feed into it, and you get the likes and the gratification out of it. And regardless of the real world consequences, that's their synthetic world they live in. And having to be around these real human beings in real life that exist on, like, I'm not on social media like that. That's why I guess it was kind of a surprise to me, like, why are you guys on board with this radical crap? Because my favorite Mexican restaurant in town had like it said Mexican owned and the doors are boarded up. I'm like, they really are going to riot and wreck this whole town down. I can't believe it. And I couldn't identify who they were. Like, nothing happened in Columbus involving, at that point in time, involving police or shooting innocent people. I mean, it was a ghost town. The whole COVID hoax cleared out the entire campus.
Columbus,
Now saying I have 0 people watching. That's funny.
Columbus used to be the most
That's
mellow
crazy.
place.
I think so too. I mean, it's largely, I think it's a huge, like a gay enclave, right? For like, and I got my little band on here. Let's put that in cap. Boom. I support the gay community because they're some of the most well put together and positive people that you'll ever meet. Unlike some of these weird, like, antique nationalists or something like that, that just, I mean, it's like some folks have like a one-trick pony to their character, and they get on that hate thing, and they think by hating another group, it elevates them. I disagree. You know what I mean? You got to try to enrich yourself to be of value. That's my little piece. But yeah, my layoff came from it was like an ambush from out of nowhere. But it's just coincidentally that the paths kind of merged there when riots kicked off, and I didn't want to sit at the table listening to these guys talk about their hateful crap about people like that they know nothing about. They know nothing about.
Hi, Callie.
If we were sitting in a restaurant over coffee or something, I could probably convey a lot more information than what I can here, because I do pull punches here on YouTube. I do pull punches.
You can't even comment in certain threads without getting error 404 messages or having
I can't talk about 90% of the stuff that I'm thinking about right now.
Pages will be took down, comments will be deleted. I tried to post stuff about COVID with my own personal experience with an illness like it, and got a strike on my channel, and YouTube cited the WHO as a source for legitimate information, and then I was spreading misinformation, and it was a personal account.
Oh, God.
Going to the hospital.
And WHO is also run by the CCP.
Right. That Rosa Koire, Koire, she wrote a book called Behind the Green Mask. That's a good, it's almost like a reference material because it documents the Agenda 2021. Agenda 21, which is now metastasized into the 2030 plan. I used to think that was not, I thought it was conspiracy theory. Here where I live in Sharonville, we just got the glossy community development mailer, 30-page mailer or whatever, and it just describes all the new ordinances they got and stuff you got to do for your leave. They've adopted the same 2030 plan for Sharonville. 5 very vague points that more or less, it's part of how they create the ordinances down at that municipal building. But it's not a conspiracy. It's legitimate. It was drafted right off of the what do they call it? The World Economic Forum website, and the UN also on the UN website, un.org. There it is. It's the very. It's almost like they copy pasted it and then sent it out to all of us as residents.
Yep, that happens a lot with channels and stuff and people posting stuff. You're just saying your experiences, and right away they want to give you a strike. Like, shut up, go away.
Yeah, it ain't conspiracy. If you prove it, there it is objectively. Like, I got this in the mail. Wow, no, we're not going to let you. It even aired on I'm not a monetized channel. It's really out of I don't know who's in charge of censorship on YouTube, but it's metastasized into other channels, and any comment thread that you get into, you can't mention certain people's name. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Michael Brown, can't even mention their names. If you go back and reload the page and try to look at your comment, it's vanished. If you try to like your comment after you made it, you get an error 404 message. It's vanished.
Well, YouTube claims that, it's algorithms and all that other stuff, but I actually think that there's a panel of people inadvertent going and deleting stuff and making their own just inadvertent, things based on what they think it should be. So I'll make a mention of a certain word or something, and it makes no sense, and all of a sudden it's deleted from a chat. And that's not in their guidelines or anything. I was talking about one day. I said something about the word Nephilim, right? The Nephilim, you probably heard about that, right?
No, I'm not hip.
Oh, okay. Well, I just said that word, and all of a sudden my thing was deleted. It was just really benign comment that I made, but somebody just had the power to just freaking delete my comment. Nephilim is actually a biblical thing about the giants that used to exist back after the Great Flood and stuff. So that's what that was about.
Like the golems, I guess.
We're just talking about this. We're just talking in a chat, just having a discussion. And somebody from the YouTube community just deleted the comment for no apparent reason. And I know that it's being done inadvertently by a panel of people that are farting around with specific channels, going in there and deleting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're people. They're people behind it. It's not an AI. It's not an algorithm. It's freaking idiots that are in YouTube, that are on a panel, that are watching right now. I'm sure of it. And they can come into your... They might be watching in the chat, and it might say, 0 viewers, and there might be 20 of them sitting there watching it, and seeing how they can... And they're trained by YouTube on how to do this, on what they want, what their I guess agenda is or whatever. So they'll have an agenda, and they'll have assignments, and they'll have a panel of people that'll go around and check everybody's chats and try to control the narrative. They're doing it.
The thought police.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
the PC culture police. I'm just so tired of it. Hang on, guys.
And if nothing else, I think it might be just to make us scared of them. They're hoping it'll make us scared.
Intimidation. Yeah.
Yeah. Intimidation. So the 3 tenets of witchcraft. There's 3 tenets of witchcraft: intimidation, manipulation, and domination.
There you go.
So it works like that. They'll intimidate, they'll manipulate, and they'll dominate.
Almost like that CCP BGY plan. On that the so-called. So when people went to the Capitol to see, I think that there were people. let's just take specifically a group of people that went to the Capitol building and that has been so sensationalized now. It's entertainment now. The facts of the matter are a moot point. Nobody gives a shit what actually happened there. There's a YouTube channel called Syrian Girl Partisan. Okay. And there is first person FPS, like first person shooter, like the game, FPS footage of the guy shooting Ashley Babbitt in one of her videos. And there's some, I've seen other well, and when you try to post links to that, they disappear out of chats, they disappear off of comment threads. And, you know, I've seen other, like on GTV, for example, if you go to GTV, you can see pictures of, for example, Hunter Biden in the Oval Office with Obama and nobody else in there. And I mean, I've been to the White House, and you think, like, who's taking this picture? It's not a hidden camera somewhere. This is someone in the room.
Yeah, it's a photo op.
Yeah, right. Like, it's purposefully done. And if it's not CCP agents, it makes you kind of question, like, well, who else would have the clearance to be in the room with President Obama that knows Hunter Biden would be in there with these two? Like, maybe Joe Biden. Or there's a lot of holes in the rhetoric about the so-called truth, this propaganda that's being spewed at us, that there were insurrectionists and this and that. And I think really there were paid agitators dressed LARPing, legitimately dressed in theater costumes as like MAGA. And they went to go tear shit up, break shit up, and make it appear as though there was going to be some kind of a violent overthrow of Congress or a riot. And it turned into what we saw, the footage. But a lot of that footage is doctored. And getting back to the Syrian Girl Partisan channel, there was a kid, 11-year-old boy, that was on the cover of Newsweek. And they had his ash-covered face, and he was propped up in this chair like he was saved from the rubble. But if you follow some of the links that she describes in the vlog that she gives about that, just this one specific incident, it involved ISIS. You can find the links to the cell phone footage of this kid getting his head sawed off in the back of a pickup truck.
Wow.
So the optic we're served is, look, we saved this little boy. Horse shit. That boy was butchered on a cell phone camera. Like, it's undisputed. I have it saved on a micro SD card. So the propaganda war is real. And the way this stuff is being crafted, even if you followed like woke.net, for example, on the YouTube channel, I think they're on day like 290. Woke.net is a multi-stream of the cats that, and during the peak season of like the Portland, Seattle, New York, Kansas City, Minneapolis, all these different riots, okay, the real live looting and riots. This is like a conglomeration. It's current. They have one tonight. It's never stopped. It has never.
Bill dropped out.
It's insane to watch the optics of what we consider an RSS feed or any amount of media, because the things that have dropped out of the limelight are still there. And I'm not talking about vague notions like, oh, Black Lives Matter. Hell, just down in Louisville, BLM held a rally and Linda Sarsour was there. Linda Sarsour, I guess, is some Palestinian radical that took the stage the day of Trump's inauguration, calling for his death and this and that. Her brother's in Hamas. You know,
wow.
The truth behind these actors, like what Wild Bill's Ghost was saying, the actors, these paid people, the truth behind them is really kind of a sinister. I can't say who's responsible for it, but the goal is just to dismantle our democracy, to dismantle, like, for the social distancing and the banning of group gatherings and that. Well, why not? You know, that fits pretty perfectly into their little Tetris piece. If you can keep people from communicating, keep people from getting together and socializing, it starts to create a new version of reality, not a great reset. I mean, that has to do with some financial.
Okay, it does, and it makes the Patriots when they're out there look like the evil demons.
Right.
And
Well,
then when these paid agitators come in, they start all the shit, and the media just like takes and runs with everything, and it's horrible.
yeah. Well, and
It
so
is.
if you watch the riots like I did after getting laid off and that I had nothing to do, um, these cats
Mhm.
are running around. It's a propaganda wing. They have the nicest technology, the nicest I mean, like $30,000 camera rigs. Okay, this is like pro grade broadcasting equipment, and they would run around and select scenarios that were like set up almost like theater in order to draw reactions out of people. They would film the thing, like the cat that got shot down there at Denver at the supposed the food bank rally. It wasn't a food bank rally. That was a setup to watch somebody get smoked because these people showed up with guns and didn't know who they were going to kill. Once they decided who they were going to kill, the cameras came around and got specific angles to film and then release portions of the footage and then recraft it into some white supremacist narrative where and it was nothing like that. Nothing like that.
Let's look at what being a nationalist means, for example. Right? They took that word. People were all saying, "No, I'm a nationalist. I'm an American nationalist. I believe in I believe in my country." You know, it's like being Portuguese nationalist, or being a Bolivian nationalist.
Canadian.
There's nothing wrong with that. But they turned American nationalist into, they weaponized the word and called it white nationalist.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
see how they twisted that? They twist our words, and they have the problem is that they have the control of the media. And this is why
Hmm.
this is their primary weapon, is control of the media. If people could see what was going on without the media influencing them, they'd have a completely different attitude about what's going on right now. Trump would be in power right now. He would be in the White House. But
Yeah.
this whole thing about the fence around the Capitol, and
That
the inauguration and
they've
all the
turned it
other stuff.
into fortification now.
Well, we don't have control of the media. That's the problem. And what we need to do is we need to take
Mhm.
control of the media somehow, come hell or high water, or
One of
we're never getting our country back.
there's different forums and venues too that have been infiltrated. I get so I'm in union working craft. Okay, I pay dues and I work under a collective bargaining agreement, and I've got a home local and this and that. I typically travel when I work because people here are just what it's dried up here in town. I get solicited a little. It's not a handbill, but it's a small newspaper, maybe 10 or 15 pages. Okay, they call it the Union Builder, and it's typically like a business agent or a business manager or an organizer from the different locals, like the iron workers or the electricians, and they all submit different op-ed pieces. Well, and the last two of these, they're monthly publications. I couldn't make it through four of the stories without screaming at the walls and throwing that thing around the room because I was so emotionally charged. I mean, these are supposedly my brothers that they would write things like their narrative now is to parrot and repeat the fact these lies about what people in the Capitol had Nazi flags and you have to watch who's next to you at work now and you can't. And I'm thinking like, what do you think you're doing? You are going to dismantle our union structure. We only have 11% of the market share as it is. They're good paying jobs, but it's by no means the majority. What like how are you going? If we all had at least the same solidarity and goal of a livable wage, um, ousting out your own members and isolating them and spreading blatant lies, and
Mhm.
call Nazis. What the fucking fuck are you for real, Jackson? It's hard to, and I don't know how to penetrate that veil of secrecy and the network of hidden alliances behind the people that support them. But you're 100% right about the media being controlled, and it's used. It's been weaponized. It's been weaponized.
And then you have your other patriots like, oh, they went to the ones that are sitting home and that weren't there, to see what actually went on, like backing them.
Well, and then, okay, we got the headquarters of the media, where the headquarters is located of the Communist Party of America, is right there in the San Francisco Bay Area, where Eric Swalwell comes out of, and Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, all these names, Christine Blasey Ford, they're all in a 150-mile radius of uh, of each other. So, with the exception of Maxine Waters, she's down in Los Angeles, but they're all in cahoots with each other, including Governor Newsom. And they all hang out at the wine caves, and they drink wine and chit chat off record with each other. And if you want to know where all the problems we're having in this country, we need to have a purge of that area. That's where it needs to be purged.
I think that's the difficulty, actually. And people were misled about this last election, that it was all about Trump versus Biden. Maybe it was probably more about the first, second, and third in command, because the vice president is the president of the Senate. They already control with Nancy Pelosi the House of Representatives. If Biden, by the virtue of the 25th Amendment, is kicked out 2 years into it, Harris can take over as president and still run for 2 more terms. Okay, so that's a dynasty.
Harris is out of there. Kamala Harris, she's out of there too. She's out of Berkeley.
Yeah, and then you got Lee that's drafting her HR 127 or whatever, which is it's. If you go to Congress.gov and read that, the House Resolution 127, you're only getting a portion on even the most 2A and patriotic of YouTube pages that try to glean over that. When you actually read the contents, it's a direct attack to dismantle virtually all of our rights. They'll probably start with a registry of people, but I don't think that it's strictly about guns. I think it's about giving people, issuing like a not a title, but a making folks out to be terrorists, and thereby allowing for your arrest and capture.
All right. Oh, I established we know all these clowns are in that 150-mile radius, but guess what else is there? All the big techies, Google headquarters, Silicon Valley. That's the hub of where this overthrow of the United States is. Everybody's looking at the wrong coast. Don't look at the East Coast. Look at the West Coast. That's where the hub of this communist insurrection is being based out of. That's where they get their marching orders. That's where they bring in all the Chinese products and everything else. And they're pushing for that. They're pushing for Port of San Diego, Port of up in Washington, Portland, all those cities that are all being overthrown with these communist insurrectionists that are going on. They're all on the East Coast, and they're in those shipping ports for China, the Pacific Coast.
I agree.
So everybody's looking at the wrong coast. You need to look at Seattle, Portland, San Diego, San Francisco, and look. That's where the purge needs to start.
It's a multi-pronged attack. I mean, look at Bill Gates. He just and I'm ripping this information from Studio Brule, from Steve Brule's channel, but which he gives some pretty candid news readings. Bill Gates is now the 17% shareholder in CN, which is Canada National Railroad. That makes him the majority shareholder. And things that don't get aired on the liberal media would be stuff like the train derailment. Back when the Keystone Pipeline was originally under construction during Comrade Obama, and the permit was revoked, Trains started getting loaded with the hydrocarbons that were, it's mined out of the oily sands up in Edmonton, Alberta, the tar sands. I was supposed to go on that project. There's huge crackers up there. It's got, outside of Venezuela, actually, Canada has the largest uranium reserves that have yet to be mined also. But the point being, when you, in those pipelines, it's not just natural gas, it's not just oil. There's all different manner of, just for lack of a different term, hydrocarbons, big slugs of this stuff that they pump through there. It doesn't have to be one homogeneous mixture. They have different densities and they're decanted off at different pumping stations. I've worked on them, the compressor stations. But the point being that, like, now China's expanding, for example, building these islands and the land strips and that. What in the world are they doing? Compressed natural gas, CNG. So on that, why would Bill Gates acquire more farmland, fertile farmland, than anyone else in the United States? Why would he own such a large stake in CN Railroad? Well, the hypotheses I have is that aside from controlling food sources and grains and things like that that'll be traded on the commodities, kind of like an Enron scandal, where they're trading packets of energy, he'll be trading his own projected food increases. And that probably weaves in why they want immigrants to come, whether or not they have a documentation or not, because he needs more or less slave labor to go out and manually work on his gigantic mega farms. But the transportation of the oil goods from Alberta to points beyond will be done on rail and not in a pipeline.
Right.
But that's it kind of plays into the Chinese control of that West Coast for sure. Opening those ports up to more shipping that aren't consumable goods, but exports from like a cadre of billionaires selling grains, selling hogs. I think back in 2008, the largest acquisition by China of an American company was actually a pork producer, and it was like a $2 billion purchase. So the hogs are raised here and on these giant CAFOs, concentrated animal feed operations, and then all of the environmental impact and housing the animals and caring for the animals and feeding them and raising them, growing the food is done here. Then they're exported to China, where
Process.
Bingo.
Yep. Just like our timber. Same thing with our timber. They harvest the timber here. We harvest the timber, supposedly, take it offshore, they mill it and sell it back to us.
Yeah, scrap too. I think that's where the World Trade Center steel went to. Instead of getting analyzed in the scrap yards, it was sent to China and melted down.
China has no resources of their own, so they have to encroach on everyone else's resources. Now, I think Bill Gates actually lives in Washington, if I remember correctly. I think he lives somewhere up in Washington. So there's another left coast personality, okay, that's part of this whole cabal. And it, like I say, it's all on the Pacific. Everybody's looking at the wrong coast. Just leave Washington alone. Forget about Washington and Virginia and that whole area over there. I mean, and Maryland. Just forget about it. I know they're all government people that are on the government milk. They're all on the government milk. The Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, that all these people are like working for contractors for DC. And DC is like their headquarters. But that is not where this insurrection is coming from. It's coming from the West Coast. And right in that 150-mile radius of San Francisco, and they're scattered in all those cities all along the West Coast on the Pacific. So look, that's where we need to look at, because that's where our problems are all coming from. We won't get our country back at this rate. There's a lot of high tech also in Seattle. There's a lot of high tech in Portland, and there's a lot of high tech in the San Francisco Bay Area, where Google headquarters and everything are. So they're all in cahoots with each other. That's where it all is. America needs to start looking at the West Coast and not the East Coast. Try to win California back, win Oregon back, and Washington, and we'll get our country back.
Yeah, look what they did to Lavoy Finicum and that Cliven Bundy, just for trying to graze BLM land.
That was in Oregon.
Yeah.
Finicum was shot in Oregon. Lavoy Finicum.
Unarmed. I watched the cell phone footage. It was ridiculous. His family was in the car with him.
He was shot in the back.
Yeah.
He had his hands up in the air, and he was shot in the back.
Yeah, with his hands up. Yeah.
With impunity. The agents that shot him with impunity.
He was targeted. He was targeted for sure.
Yeah, that's a disgrace. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and as far as like getting folks together, people of a like mind that still give a damn about America, that want to have a good quality of life. That is such an enigma and such a huge to speak on what you were saying about the West Coast there. I think a lot of those folks in those areas are independently wealthy, even if you cut off their income stream now. I probably haven't made $1 million in my entire life. And I think somebody was saying that there's 350 million millionaires in the world. So there's an awful lot of money flowing around out there. That in order to gain emancipation from the control of our money, not so much the interest rates and the devaluation of the fiat currency. They're going to do that anyway at the federal level. But in order to support one another in communities, like a community-based just standard of living, I think a good place to start would be just grassroots gatherings where folks get together and network in a positive way, so that who's a welder, who's a plumber, who's an electrician, the craft workers, the trade workers, people that are good, like savvy with tech, that can come and establish your internet connection. Or there's so many aspects to life that people have become lazy at, and they've got like this, there's a self-entitlement mentality that we've got to shed. Okay. And then this instant gratification syndrome. That Bezos, I guess, that controls Amazon, who in the world would have ever imagined that you would be shopping on Amazon for groceries to get delivered to your door? I go to Pipkin's down the street, which is a nice little organic fruit and vegetable stand. And they have, I'm not going to say Amish, but responsibly raised chickens, okay, and egg products and dairy and that. Dairy, like milk that comes in a glass jug where you put a deposit down on the jug and that. So instead of going to Kroger and paying 20 cents more for a batch of green onions or whatever, and there's a bakery there too, 2 different bakeries actually that drop off baked goods there for loaves of bread and other ciabattas and stuff like that. For me, it's a more healthful way to live, and my body has acclimated to eating higher, just a higher quality kind of food. But on that, like for example, the milk that I get it from a specific creamery, okay? And the lactose enzymes in my body process it a certain way, and it agrees with my stomach. If I drink cheap crap, it's just, I'm on the toilet for 3 days. But so it's $4.79 a quart. I'm pushing nearly $20 a gallon for the milk to drink that is higher quality and actually drinkable. And it's not just because it's sold at that particular organic fruit stand. That's just what it costs to produce that kind of a product, and to be competitive with the larger commercial outfits. Getting back to what I was saying, though, starting to network on like as a community-based group for our food, for our resources, for the daily services and that. Maybe that's the only way that we can draw down, because it costs it. Our wages, even as a union worker, our wages do not reflect what a working wage is, a livable wage. It's it's an abomination. If inflation goes up 2% every year, the only thing that goes up 2% in our package is the health and welfare and the which is our health benefit, and then the pension, which those two combined right now in my package are $18 an hour. I know a lot of folks that don't make $18 an hour at all. So it's to get financial independence from that, who I call our CCP masters. That's probably the first step, and to do that is a step. It takes generations to do that.
Here's how things used to work, and we need to go back to it. Is we used to produce a surplus of whatever it was, and then so we had enough to feed ourselves, right? And after you get enough to feed yourself, then you've got a surplus, and you send that out. And the way that you build wealth is any country is by GDP, a gross domestic product. So but that trickles down to our personal lives too. If we could do a surplus as individuals of whatever we consume, then wealth will start to come into your life. It will. It just works that way. I say, get a garden. It's not about how cheap you buy your stuff. It's about what you don't buy and saving every nickel and penny that you get, and try to reinvest it in something to buy more seed or whatever you need to do to eventually produce a surplus. So whatever, that's what we don't do. We don't invest in ourselves. And this area where I live in the Rocky Mountains, and the people that settled this land right here, that's how they built wealth. And I go up into these old areas and I see these huge mansions. That was a typical lifestyle of somebody around 1906. They lived in big, 2-3 story homes. A lot of people did, not everybody, but a good lot of people did. And that's because they understood this principle of producing a surplus, which brought in wealth into the state where I live. It brought in a lot of wealth. But now you walk down, people, and everybody had gardens, right? When I was a kid, everybody had gardens. Everybody had fruit trees in their yard. They've cut them all down. All you see are decoration trees and, decoration plants that don't produce anything. And they let their apples fall to the ground. They don't even bother picking them up.
I see it in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Grandma would have been over there canning those apples. I'm telling you right now. Grandma would have been making applesauce, and she would have been taking canning peaches in mason jars and stuff. And, because a lot of people grew up without refrigeration back then, so they preserved everything. And we don't do that anymore. We aren't producing a surplus. We're not prepared for bad times. And they learned how to prepare for bad times. I'm telling you right now, my friend, hard times is a coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're not going to solve. We're not going to solve problems with guns and ammunition either. That's the wrong strategy.
No, exactly.
It just can't. It won't go down that way. You'll either be dead or incarcerated. So consider that shit.
If you live in an apartment, you go get you some planters, or build some planters out of something, some scrap wood or whatever, and get a little victory garden going. Be as self-sufficient as you could possibly be, because we don't know, we might not have any food. All the people that are on all these psychotropic medications, they're not going to get their free medications. At some point, what happens when the government cuts them all off, and all the diabetics that were on Medicaid and everything, they say, "Oh, sorry, we're not paying for your insulin." I mean, insulin's jumped way up in price, like 5-10 times of what it was. Gasoline over here has jumped up to $3.07 a gallon when it was $1.99 a gallon under Trump. Let's see what happened.
It's $3.79 a gallon for the 93 octane here in Cincinnati. It's with no end in sight. It continues.
Guys, can you hold up a minute? I want to let everybody know that I put something in chat. I put my cash up in there because I don't have a car and I'm raising funds. So yeah, we're all going through hard times. So I'm trying to get a car because I was in a car accident October 22nd of last year. So my car was totaled. I was hurt. So yeah, the Patriot community has been helping me, and they've done more for me. And I'm getting sick of people putting them down. And that's what true love is, and true patriotism is about: sticking together and helping one another through good
Amen.
times and bad times.
Amen.
There's a big suspicion issue, I think, amongst the Patriots. I mean, even if you go to, I don't know, call it Vance's Outdoors or something like that, we're not homogeneous, you know, and there aren't clear cut. It's depending who you talk to on what kind of day they're having, you'll have a different reaction out of people. Um, it like I say, I think having the restricting group gatherings has been one of the most detrimental things that we could have done to this country. And short order here, just in a year. Remember when it was 2 weeks? 2 weeks in a year. Many people have been completely financially dismantled. And I mean, like even if you go on something like Craigslist or something like that, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. People don't have extra.
I'm still seeing people buying new cars and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Well, yeah. Credit's probably being given away to keep the interest rates down.
Yeah, I can't. I can't get credit. No, mine shot from school fucking loans. Big mistake of my life.
Oh yeah, I've missed 10 house payments. I'm on my third forbearance. I mean, I couldn't finance a McFlurry.
Oh dear God,
But the
this is crazy. This is really like pushing people over the edge into poverty and out of their homes and homeless. It's like we have the homeless population enough, and this the freaking COVID crap has put a lot on people, a lot. You know, and
Well,
the suicide rates are going up, and people are killing their own kids. I mean, I see so many stories popping up on my phone. It like, oh my God,
I don't want to
it's like,
interrupt. I
wow.
got to bail on you here. I got to bail on you here. I got some pertinent stuff I need to take care of. So,
good talking to
All
you,
uh,
brother.
right, thank you, Bill, for coming. I appreciate it very
God
much.
bless. God bless. Remember that God is love.
Amen to that, brother.
Stay strong, brother.
Yeah, we got to fend for ourselves now. It's like we're all in this together, but I mean, we have to unite. If we don't unite, everything is going to go to hell. It is.
Yeah, I don't see a realistic end coming unless people have the ability to get together in groups. And I don't mean digitally either. Physically gather together in groups to try to support one another through
Yeah.
any way that they can. I mean, it's just an unrecognizable world anymore. And just to speak specifically to what can be done here in town, like while Bill was saying to have a victory garden or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me plug my thing in. To do something like that, there's a guy down the street with a bunch of cold frames, and I mean he's got a pretty good size garden going on. I mean it's not like maybe
Oh
a quarter,
yeah.
probably maybe like quarter acre, and he sells to like local. This is to help his financial well-being. He sells to local restaurants and stuff like that, fresh vegetables that are in season. But Sharonville, in the town where I live at, took his ass to court. He was criminally liable for that. Had to get a permit and go through the zoning variance process, and that's kind of part of what they were illustrating in that 2030 pamphlet that they sent out. You know that you can be free, but it's going to cost you. And I've read their ordinances. Every physical act that a human being can do has been described in their ordinances, and they've assigned like a legal value to it. So the money grab, it's not just individuals that are going bankrupt. The incorporated towns now, because of the size of their payroll and the people on the public works department that are overpaid and they're not in the fucking offices, you know, because of COVID or whatever, and they get paid to stay at home. It's starting to add up, and here in town they're leaning on the people that live here. So that if your only investment is your home, it's become so almost cost prohibitive to enhance or improve that asset. A driveway, gutters, siding, whatever. It's all permit worthy work, and the code enforcement official comes around to terrorize you. Like I was given an envelope with hundreds of pictures of my property, like where they had come around clear to the rear of my property. And then when I started to work on things they claim were violations, they served me with 5 misdemeanor 4 warrants, capiases for my arrest. So
Wow.
yeah, it was 5. Let's see, 5 30-day trips to jail, and then $1,000 fine on each. You know, for like building a 10-foot Jaga porch and for putting a retaining, this fucking landscaping, putting a wall out in front, you know, and planting trees out by the road. Illegal. So I do.
Oh
see
my God.
point, but it's become almost undoable in town. You have to live in a place now, like a township or something like that, because it's in an incorporated town where they. I say incorporated because they're in business for profit. It's I mean you're putting your own freedom. What'll happen is there will be a warrant issued for your arrest for your so-called violation.
Is it somebody reporting you or has a problem with you?
There are several anonymous complainants that have reported on me, but then if the code enforcement official comes out herself, she loves to do that. She'll sneak around. She'll bring a police escort with her to make it look like official police business. And that little bitch will run into the backyard and take pictures of your house and take pictures of your belongings. Well, who's to say she's not taking pictures of the kids inside the windows of the house? That's my point.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's freaking creepy, man.
It's stalking. And so I challenged them in court, and what they said, well, okay, you're gonna have to I had to get a lawyer. It cost me $1,500, which I didn't have. Borrow the money for the fucking lawyer, which only bought me time. It didn't get the charges dismissed. And so while I'm spending the money I don't have, because I spent it on the lawyer to repair the fence or do this or that, that's like someone else's anonymous complaint. Not even people that live in the goddamn neighborhood. People from a mile away. They'll walk by these blue-haired ladies. The same blue-haired ladies that go down to the council meeting and they make up what they call a quorum of votes. So they like to hear people talk legalese, and whomever wants to down at the municipal office can draft whatever legislation they want to be written in a codified ordinance. Well, the blue-haired ladies love it. As long as you can read it, they'll vote for it. So what they've created now is so many layers of policy that if you get snared by the city of Sharonville specifically, there's no way out. You must comply. And then the things that they've written include these follow-up visits, which amounts to surveillance. They've authorized themselves to do that. And I took it up with the chief of the watch and the lieutenant down there at the police department. And they said, look, we don't have any jurisdiction over them. They are their own thing. The director of public safety, which is the public works people that drive around like the I don't know, the leaf grinders and the snow plows and stuff like that. That department runs the city. And that select group of people. Funny thing is, sitting down is a job. Those guys, when people get sentenced to community service in Sharonville, that's where you go. You sit in the truck for those guys, and they pimp you around like some little dog. So they don't actually use their own labor, what they're being paid for, to do their own job. But more to the point, what was I saying? The magistrate. So if you don't want to comply, so I'm sovereign citizen, I'm free. You can't arrest me for too tall a grass or whatever. That was actually my last misdemeanor charge was and conviction was too tall of weeds, turf management. And the shit was cut down. I was working out of town, came into town, cut it down, but the violation was sent to the court, and they made a ruling. After I had cut the damn weeds down, I still got a guilt, and so they suspended my license. This is the power they have. If you disagree with them and you choose not to comply, the magistrate will use the Department of Motor Vehicles in the state of Ohio and suspend your driving privileges. When you come back to compliance, okay, with the city ordinance, you still have to deal separately with the Ohio Department of Transportation, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
Oh, so you're in Ohio.
Yeah.
What part of Ohio? Because I'm in Hermitage, PA.
I'm down in Cincinnati. way down by Kentucky.
No.
That's a dump. So
Mm.
here's there's another down here.
Mm.
Yeah, the but at any rate, yeah. So the issue with your driver's license privileges being suspended, that's just a leverage to get you to come into compliance with the local ordinance. You will still have to deal with the Department of Motor Vehicles to get your license back reinstated, which is costly. And then there's the points on your license and the insurance points and everything with that. So it's a multi-pronged attack. It's not like you can just go out and even build a garden anymore. I mean, you can, but you have to draw the garden, like make a drawing and get approval from the council, this council of blue-haired ladies. You're going to have to pay a fee for the plan review board to review your plans. This is a fucking garden or gutters. So, I mean, if you cannot draw it, you cannot do it. Don't attempt it. That's my warning. Do not attempt anything unless you can make like a legitimate architectural mechanical drawing. I ran into it myself.
Yeah.
So I was never really woke to this stuff. I just kind of I took it for granted that you paid your taxes and that some people got paid down at the city building and they just kind of did their job behind closed doors. Now, if you even go down to the city building to get the forms that you want, no one's at the office, or if they are, they won't answer because of the COVID. They're on their phones, but like the doors are locked. Like
Yeah.
Detroit City.
I think they want to fucking pick and choose. These Karens want to pick and choose who to pick on. They have nothing to fucking better to do with their lives. I usually don't swear on my life, but sometimes I get so agitated. I do. So I'm thinking about doing a part 2 in this because I have to be on other channels to show support. So if you want to come up again, we'll do a part 2 with everybody, so
I'd love
that
to.
we can talk more into this about what's going on with everybody and stuff, man. This is just way too much for me. I mean, I love everybody, I respect everybody, but like I said, unity is the most important key.
I agree
Like
with
Alex has been, Sleeping Jones, he's been stressing that. He's a very intelligent man. He has gone through things with a one channel that he's being disrespected, and he has never disrespected anybody. He gives them the floor. He's respectful. He does interviews. I mean, they talk about different things, but I don't think it's right to treat somebody like that, or go in other channels and pick and choose and talk about other people. Say it to their face. Say it to their face. Quit being what I'm going to call a coward, a pussy, whatever. I don't care. So thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
We'll do a part 2 with everybody on this. Next, maybe we can do it over the weekend, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes because I know there's a lot of shows and I do a mod for a lot of people. So I'll figure it out, and I appreciate you coming.
It's important information that needs to get out to people because I think the awareness isn't even there, and like you say, if there's the things I've been describing are just daily life issues that are barriers.
I have to laugh. Modus is saying unity with the left. No, it's about the Patriots coming together, not the left.
That's right. That's right. Unity within our own group.
That's funny.
And it's been fractured. And these are some of the components that keep us apart, that keep us from organizing as a group.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Blue Collar.
I'll be seeing you around.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. All right.
You're welcome.
Bye, everybody.